Hello YouTube, welcome back to Trumps of Twilight. This is a channel where I, Vincent, talk to you, the Abyss, about books, movies, music that I enjoy, find interesting, or a combination of the two. And today I'm going to be talking about some music. Now, pretty soon next week I'm going to be away. I'm on holiday doing a couple of things. I'm recording with my band in the UK, and I'm presenting in a conference about madness, the embodiment of madness for the Wilhelm Reich Center. So I'm not going to be around as much, so I thought I would record some short videos in advance, which I can release throughout that time so that my channel won't be inactive. And even though I haven't left yet, this is the first of those videos. I'm just going to talk a little bit about my most recent vinyl purchases, talk about the music briefly, and then invite you to tell me what you've been listening to. I try not to buy too much stuff. Like I try and buy clothes used if I can. I try not to buy a lot of objects because I am pretty concerned about the environmental impact of the amount of consumption that we have. Every time I have to buy a smartphone, I buy it reconditioned secondhand. But there are some exceptions. Those exceptions being books. Although I'm trying to read books I already own, I've just bought 3 new books. Band merchandise and records. Now, the reason that I buy band merchandise and records is because at this point in history, we basically pay subscription fees to tech oligarchs to allow us to listen to music that they expect musicians to make for free. So when I go to concerts, I try to buy merchandise. And when I don't go, if I listen to an album often, I will buy it on vinyl. I also buy secondhand vinyl because I believe in trying to support local record stores. So here are the most recent releases that I've bought in the last month or so. The first one is Lonely People with Power by the American band Deafheaven. Deafheaven, if you don't know them, they're a rock band that combine kind of very pretty shoegaze or indie rock oriented sounds with styles and approaches that we more often associate with black metal. Screaming vocals, blast beats, tremolo guitar. It's a kind of interesting combination that I like more than I like people who are doing kind of old school black metal in 2025. There are a few bands who work in a similar kind of field that I appreciate. But Deafheaven are the one that you can listen to in a lot of different moods. My favourite album by them is named after a quote from a Graham Greene novel, Ordinary Corrupt Human Love. This one, I think, might be my second or my new favourite. It's their recent release. It's really, really vast sounding. It doesn't have any bad songs on it. It's super complicated musically, but it never sounds like pretentious or annoying. I really have been enjoying it a great deal. Have you heard it? Do you like it? Let me know. The second album is by Miles Davis. I bought this secondhand from the local record store here in Tromsø. It was pretty cheap. It's because it's a bit scratched, but it still sounds good. Like many jazz dilettantes, I enjoy Miles Davis. This album, how do you say this? Ascenseur pour le chauffeur, maybe? Once I used to pretend to be able to speak French, but now I don't even pretend. This was the soundtrack of a kind of noir style movie from, I guess, the 50s. Yeah, recorded in 57. The amazing thing about this record is that it apparently was improvised to the rushes of the film, shown on a small screen in the studio. So they just had a little image of the film itself, and the band played, and Miles Davis improvises a lot of the solos. It's the 50s, so he's very central on the trumpet still in the sound of the band. On the second side, they've put 3 extra songs, which are recorded by the same group that recorded Kinda Blue a year later. So if you've never heard this, really beautiful, noirish, kind of, you could say, on the border between like cool jazz and bebop. Very nice. The next one, Hval, Classic Objects. Beautiful album cover. This album has a song called American Coffee on it, which I've been listening to for basically since it came out, regularly on playlists that I've been making. But I haven't listened to the album that often. So I've been listening to it since I got it. Jenny Hval, if you don't know her, she's a kind of art pop singer, writes kind of quite smart, maybe slightly academic lyrics. You can tell that she's been to art school. I really like her singing style. I think this music on this album is really, really beautiful, a little bit ethereal, a little bit reminds you of the kind of landscapes that are sort of shown in this sky on the front cover. Do you know Jenny Hval? Do you like her? Let me know. Okay, the next one is Holy Fawn, Realms. Realms is the first EP from Holy Fawn. I think it's about 10 years old, but it's just been released on vinyl, like by a kind of vinyl re-release distributor. I think they're called Wax Bodega. So it was released, licensed to them. It's got this very cool mirrored cover, which pulls out. Holy Fawn are a rock band that are a little bit like Deafheaven. They're in the same kind of heavy rock, shoegaze, almost like 4AD type of sound. But this album, being a bit earlier, is not very effect heavy, lots of delay on the guitar, pretty singing that remind you of Mew. The sound of the band itself on this album might remind you of Blonde Redhead. Check them out if you don't know them. And the last one is a re-release of Mingus by Charles Mingus, one of my favourite jazz composers. His album of piano music, where he's playing solo piano compositions, is probably one of my favourite albums of all time. This album is much more playful. They're doing different kind of bebop, post-bop versions of recognisable jazz styles, like in the style of Jelly Roll Morton, for example. At the end, there's another one that's like a stop shuffle bass line kind of thing. There's a lot of very energetic, very exciting music on this album. It used to have a really beautiful painting, kind of modernist painting as its front cover, which they've replaced on this reissue, which in my opinion is a shame, because that painting really kind of gave you a sense of this kind of like playful, abstract modernist music. Also, Charles Mingus, I will say, I read his autobiography. Maybe I'll do a video about it sometime. Quite a difficult guy by all accounts, quite belligerent. A lot of his autobiography went to describing being a pimp, but also like a very emotional, sensitive person at the same time, and really, really interested in music and in art. He's kind of this very contradictory guy, and it's interesting to hear how soulful and pretty a lot of his music can be when you hear about a lot of his behavior in life. Those are my recent vinyl purchases. I don't know if this video was boring to people who know me for my discussions of primarily of film and books, but it's something I thought I would try. Please jump in the comments, let me know what you're listening to at the moment. I'm always interested in recommendations. As I get older, it's slightly harder to find them, so hook me up.